Were you guys surprised to see that credit card debt has really soared in the last 3 months?
I think the actual growth which we saw in the last quarter, that definitely was higher than we were expecting. And it's kind of coming from two things. As you said, it's coming from those consumers who are really feeling the pinch financially. And it's also coming because we did have some population growth above average in the last 2 quarters. So it's kind of coming from a couple of areas.
So credit card debt, according to Equifax, now totals more than $100 billion for the first time. How concerning is this and why?
It is a little bit concerning in the sense of where some of that growth is coming from. So, what we're seeing right now is we are seeing some of the younger consumers. We're seeing it mainly in some of the lower income segments of the population. That's where some of that growth is really starting to come from. And they're the areas where we are a little bit concerned as well, because they tend to be the ones where we're seeing more missed payments coming through. Now, credit card debt in itself isn't bad. It's whether or not the individual can continue to make payments on that. So they're kind of the areas we're a little bit worried about.
Well, let's dig a little bit deeper on that one, that younger people are racking up more debt. How do you see that playing out moving forward? What are the implications of that on young people who are just really getting a handle on their credit?
I mean, it's definitely going to be a challenging period for those consumers. I think all of us, we know, as you go to the grocery store, as you go to kind of buy new things, everything's costing more and more because inflation is still high. So I think it is going to be a challenge for those younger consumers for a period of time. And then later in the year, I think what we are concerned about is then future payment shocks for a different part of the population. So those mortgage holders who are coming up for renewals, interest rates may be significantly higher than they were when they took out that mortgage. So, there are a couple of areas where right now it might be the younger and lower income segments where we're seeing the most stress. But, fast forward, a quarter or two, that could start to shift to kind of a little bit older consumers and homeowners as well.
And what are some of the consequences of not paying your credit card bill every month, or at least not making the payments, Rebecca?
I mean, obviously, the first thing is your own well-being. It's not great when you end up in a situation where you have debts to pay and you are unable to make those payments. That in itself can have an impact on the individual. I mean, from a credit standpoint, as soon as you miss payments, that does start to impact your profile, how you look to other lenders in terms of credit. It can start to impact things like your credit score. So, it's really important if you are facing some financial difficulties to have those conversations with lenders. There are plenty of organizations out there that can help with budgeting and things. So there are options and ways to get help, but it certainly can help. It certainly can impact your ability to get future credit if you miss payments.